If you've managed to save over $300,000, first of all, congratulations. That kind of discipline takes years of effort, sacrifice, and planning. You might feel like you're finally in a position to breathe a little easier. Maybe you've even been told you're on track for a comfortable retirement. But here's the uncomfortable truth no one's talking about. Once your savings cross a certain threshold, you're not just financially secure, you're financially exposed. Because buried in the fine print of retirement laws and tax rules is a little-known reality that catches many people off guard. It's not a loophole. It's not a penalty. It's a system that quietly shifts the tax burden onto people like you, people who followed the rules, did everything right, and now find themselves being taxed more in retirement than they ever were while working. And it doesn't happen all at once. It creeps in. One year, your Medicare premiums jump unexpectedly. The next, your Social Security starts getting taxed. Then you hit your required minimum distributions, and suddenly the government is forcing you to pull money from your accounts whether you need it or not, and taxing you every step of the way. The worst part? Most people don't realize what's happening until it's already too late to avoid. If you're sitting on $300,000 or more in retirement savings, there's a tax trap designed specifically with you in mind. And unless you understand how it works, you could be giving away far more of your money than you ever planned. Let's break down exactly how this happens, starting with the first warning sign most people miss. Most people assume that once they retire, their taxes will go down. After all, you're not working anymore. Shouldn't your income be lower? But here's where the first surprise hits. If you've saved over $300,000, especially in tax-deferred accounts like a traditional IRA or 401k, you could actually end up in a higher tax bracket than you were during your working years. It sounds impossible, but it happens more often than you think. The problem starts when you begin withdrawing from these accounts. Every dollar you take out is considered ordinary income. That means it gets stacked on top of any other income you have, Social Security, pension, rental income, whatever else. Suddenly, your retirement income doesn't look so small. It looks taxable. And the more you withdraw, the more it pushes you up the tax ladder. You might start at a reasonable rate, but just a few extra withdrawals can launch you into a higher bracket, triggering larger tax bills and ripple effects you didn't see coming. What's worse is that it can sneak up on you. You're not earning a paycheck anymore, so you don't expect a tax hit. But withdrawals, even small ones, can tip the scales. And unlike your old job, where your taxes were withheld automatically, now it's on you to plan ahead or pay the price when tax season rolls around. This is the first blind spot for many retirees, thinking they'll owe less, only to realize too late that their savings are being quietly taxed at rates they never prepared for. But that's just the beginning. There's one rule that catches almost every retiree off guard: required minimum distributions, or RMDs. It sounds harmless enough, but for anyone with a decent-sized retirement account, especially those with over $300,000 saved, this rule can create a financial storm you never saw coming. Starting at age 73 or 75 if you were born after 1960, the government mandates that you start pulling money out of your tax-deferred retirement accounts, whether you need it or not. That's right, whether you're still living comfortably off other income or not touching your savings, you're legally required to withdraw a specific amount every single year. And every dollar you take out gets taxed as ordinary income. The bigger your account, the larger the required withdrawal, and the larger the tax bill. And unlike voluntary withdrawals, there's no flexibility here. Miss your RMD deadline or take out too little, and the IRS can hit you with a penalty of up to 25% of the amount you failed to withdraw. That's not a typo. And here's the kicker. These forced withdrawals can create a domino effect. Suddenly, your income for the year spikes. That extra income can push you into a higher tax bracket, raise your Medicare premiums, and even cause more of your Social Security to be taxed. It's a cascading chain of penalties and costs, all triggered by one rule. And the worst part? You have almost no control once it starts. That's why understanding RMDs isn't optional, it's essential. Because once you're in the system, it doesn't care if you're ready or not. Most retirees don't realize that the money they've saved can do more than just increase their tax bill. It can also quietly drive up their healthcare costs, and the reason is something called IRMA. That stands for Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, and it's one of the most overlooked penalties in retirement. Here's how it works. The amount you pay for Medicare Part B and Part D isn't fixed. It's based on your income from 2 years ago. So, if you withdraw a large sum from your retirement account today, whether for a vacation, a home upgrade, or even a Roth conversion, you might not feel the impact now, but in 2 years your Medicare premiums could double or even triple. This isn't a small bump. We're talking about hundreds of extra dollars each month, taken straight from your Social Security check. And for couples who are managing tight budgets in retirement, this can feel like a gut punch. What's worse is that IRMAA thresholds are shockingly low. If your modified adjusted gross income crosses just one of these invisible lines, even by $1, you're bumped into a higher premium tier. And the more savings you have, the more likely you are to trip these wires without meaning to. Many people think they're being smart by living off savings and minimizing taxes, but the IRS sees income, not intentions. So, while you might feel like you're in control of your finances, IRMAA is quietly resetting the rules behind the scenes. And by the time you notice the deductions, it's often too late to reverse them. But this chain reaction doesn't stop at Medicare, it keeps going. Here's where the trap tightens even more. Your Social Security benefits, the very money you earn through a lifetime of work, can be taxed again. Most people assume Social Security is tax-free, especially after years of paying into the system. But if you have over $300,000 in savings and start tapping into those retirement funds, the government takes a second bite. The key factor is something called your combined income, which includes your adjusted gross income, any non-taxable interest, and half of your Social Security benefits. If that total exceeds $25,000 for individuals or $32,000 for couples, a portion of your benefits, up to 85% becomes taxable. And with even modest withdrawals from a 401k or IRA, most retirees cross that line faster than they expect. So, what does that mean in real terms? It means the money you thought you could count on every month suddenly shrinks. It means more of your income gets funneled into taxes and less stays in your pocket. And it means that by simply accessing your own savings, you could be triggering taxes on money you already paid into the system decades ago. It feels unfair, because it is. This double taxing system punishes people who've saved diligently. And for those who aren't prepared, it turns what should be a stable retirement into a minefield of financial surprises. Worse, it's often baked into the cake by the time you notice it. These tax burdens layer on top of one another, and the impact compounds year after year. And even if you try to outsmart the system with tax strategies, the next trap is already waiting. At first glance, converting your traditional IRA or 401k into a Roth account seems like the smart move, and in many cases, it is. But there's a hidden danger that catches a lot of people off guard, especially those with over $300,000 in savings. The Roth conversion trap. Here's what happens. You hear that Roth IRAs let your money grow tax-free and don't require minimum distributions. That sounds perfect, especially after learning how brutal RMDs and taxes on Social Security can be. So you decide to convert a large portion of your traditional IRA into a Roth. But then comes the shock, your tax bill explodes. Why? Because every dollar you convert is counted as taxable income in the year you convert it. Convert too much at once, and you could push yourself into a much higher tax bracket without even realizing it. You're not just paying taxes on the converted amount, you might also trigger IRMA penalties for Medicare, cause more of your Social Security to be taxed, and lose out on valuable deductions or credits. What felt like a smart tax-saving move becomes a chain reaction of financial damage. And the bigger your savings, the more tempting and risky it becomes to convert large sums all at once. Timing matters. Strategy matters. And doing it without a clear plan can cost you tens of thousands more than you expected. The Roth account might be the goal, But how you get there is what determines whether you protect your wealth or unknowingly hand a huge slice of it to the IRS. And this problem doesn't just affect you, it can haunt the people you leave your money to as well. You've spent your life building your savings, maybe even imagining that one day it would be your legacy, something to leave behind for your children or grandchildren. But what most people don't realize is that without proper planning, those same savings can become a tax nightmare for your heirs. This all changed with the passage of the Secure Act, a law that quietly reshaped how inherited retirement accounts are handled. Before, non-spouse beneficiaries like your kids could stretch withdrawals from inherited IRAs over their lifetime, keeping annual taxes low. But not anymore. Now, most non-spouse heirs are required to withdraw all the money from inherited IRAs within 10 years. That might not sound so bad until you realize what it actually means. If your children are working, earning decent salaries, and suddenly have to withdraw large sums from an inherited account, that extra income can push them into the highest tax brackets. We're not talking about a minor bump. This can mean losing 30%, 40%, or even more of what you left behind to federal and state taxes. And unlike you, they don't get a say. The 10-year clock starts ticking the moment they inherit it, and if they miss the deadline, more penalties, more taxes. This means that money you carefully save to help them, maybe even to give them a better future, can end up being one of their biggest financial burdens. The intention was love and support, but the result could be frustration, confusion, and thousands lost to tax rules they didn't see coming. And what makes this worse is that most people find out after it's too late to change anything. The most frustrating part of all of this, the unexpected taxes, the Medicare spikes, the shrinking Social Security, the trap set for your heirs, is that no one warns you. Your financial advisor might help you grow your portfolio, your tax preparer might file your returns correctly, but very few professionals are actually trained to look at how retirement income interacts with federal tax laws over time. And that's where so many people fall through the cracks. They assume someone's watching out for them, that surely if they were heading straight into a financial trap, someone would say something. But that's not how the system works. It's not built to protect you, it's built to collect. Retirement tax rules are complex, outdated, and buried in government language the average person never reads. The IRS doesn't send you a reminder that you're about to trigger IRMA penalties. Medicare doesn't give you a warning that next year's premiums will skyrocket because of this year's Roth conversion. And no one tells you that your Social Security benefits might be taxed if you simply withdraw too much of your own money. By the time you see the damage, it's already been done. And for many people, the realization comes not with a letter or phone call, but with a tax bill that's double what they expected. It feels like a betrayal. You played by the rules, you saved responsibly, and yet, somehow, you're being punished for it. The truth is, the system doesn't care how careful you were. It only responds to those who plan ahead, and unfortunately, most people don't even know they need to. Having over $300,000 in savings should be something to celebrate. It means you were disciplined, responsible, and forward-thinking. You played the long game, sacrificed in the short term, and set yourself up for a retirement free from financial stress, or so you thought. But as you've seen, the moment your savings cross certain invisible lines, the rules change. Suddenly, the system doesn't see you as someone who planned wisely. It sees you as a tax opportunity. The government begins to pull your money in subtle ways, through forced withdrawals, higher Medicare premiums, tax Social Security benefits, and even crushing penalties for your heirs. And the worst part? Most of it happens quietly year by year without a single red flag. That's the real danger. It's not that you did anything wrong, it's that the system is designed to penalize the very thing you were told to do, save. That's why awareness is your greatest weapon. The earlier you understand these rules, the more power you have to work around them. Whether it's strategically planning Roth conversions, managing your income thresholds, or building a legacy plan that won't leave your children with a surprise tax burden, the key is preparation. No one is going to do it for you. But if you take the time now to learn, ask the hard questions, and make a plan, you can protect your savings from being chipped away one piece at a time. You've already done the hard part, saving the money. Now, it's time to make sure you actually get to keep it.